Star Trek, the ultimate franchise. These are the podcasts of the Wakefield brothers. Their 16-year mission to watch every production, to seek out life lessons and new inspirations, to boldly watch like most fans have watched before. Welcome back to Temporal Directive, the Star Trek fan podcast, rewatching the entire franchise in chronological order. I'm Gary.
And I'm Tom.
And this week, we're watching Star Trek Enterprise's Cold Front. But first, we have a sad announcement. This week, another cast member has passed away. And it was sad to hear that James Darren, who of course was Vic Fontaine in Deep Space Nine, passed away this week.
Oh, that's a bit sad.
Yeah. So this week we're watching Cold Front, written by Stephen Beck and Tim Finch. And this episode is directed by Lieutenant Tom Paris himself, Robert Duncan McNeill. Robert Duncan McNeill has directed a lot of television. He learned to direct on Voyager, and I listened to his podcast, The Delta Flyers, which he co-hosts with Garrett Wong. And he talks a fair bit about shadowing directors on Voyager and learning the ropes from them. So, yeah, if you haven't listened to that podcast, go listen to The Delta Flyers. It's pretty good.
Yeah, us first, then them.
Yeah. So while he was on Voyager, he did direct 4 episodes of Voyager, and he did 4 episodes of Enterprise in total as well. So 3 more after this. This episode aired November 28, 2001, and this is the last episode of the year. So this is the mid-season break. This is the mid-season finale.
Now, mid-season, do we get anything about the time stuff?
Well, are you ready for this IMDb synopsis? This might give you a clue.
All right, go for it.
Enterprise has a group of aliens watching a stellar phenomenon on board. When the ship is miraculously saved from blowing up, crewman Daniels has an important message for Archer.
Okay, you see that name I know.
Hey.
So it is time related.
He hasn't been in it yet, so
No.
this must be the first appearance of crewman Daniels.
Yeah, hasn't been seen on the ship at all the entire time.
Not yet.
On such a small ship. I haven't even seen him in the background. Just, if you're a time traveler or whatever, you might want to just be in the background every now and then, right? Just
No.
Okay.
What a waste of time.
He's got
Do you know
plenty
how many
of it.
places you have to jump to? I want to go see the dinosaurs. I don't want to waste so much time here. Show me the good stuff and I'm out.
Yeah. Fine.
A bit of trivia. Agent Daniels, or crewman Daniels, is played by Matt Winston, who is Stan Winston's son. I didn't know that until I started looking up trivia for this episode. So yeah, pretty cool.
Nice.
Do you remember this episode very well?
Not a lot.
You just remember crewman Daniels?
Yeah, I just know who that is. Like I've said before, I don't remember a lot of Enterprise, but I know some of the history that happens throughout Enterprise.
Sure.
Through, having to know what goes on in the world of Trek. So I know who he is, what relevance he has.
Cool. All right, let's go watch it then.
Cool, right.
And we're back from watching Cold Front. What did you think, Tom? What's your first impressions?
I actually didn't mind the episode right up until the end, obviously, when I lost my shit.
There might have been a pause and some ranting before we continued, but yes.
Yeah. Up until that point, it wasn't too bad, actually. I was quite enjoying it. Yeah, good. Yep.
Yeah, same.
It was significant issues right at the end.
Right at the end. It would have been such a good episode if they hadn't have just fucked it up right at the end.
Yeah. It's very disappointing. Very, very.
All right, let's get into it. The sooner we get there, the sooner we can complain about it.
Yeah, good plan.
We open in the temporal chamber that we saw in Broken Bow, and Silic is on a table. It looks like he's being tortured. That was my first thought. But the Shadow Man is there. The Shadow Man from the future. Again, Broken Bow. Big callbacks here to the premiere.
Yep.
And he talks about the fact that they're removing some of the enhancements due to his failure on the Kleong mission. So the Kleongs were meant to have a civil war, and he failed in that mission, and the Kleongs are at peace, and so Shadow Man is removing the enhancements from Silic.
What a bastard.
What a prick. But Shadow Man is sending him on another mission where he doesn't need the enhancements, and if he does well on that mission, he will earn some enhancements back. Nice control. Then we skip the credits. Hoshi's getting into a turbo lift. Mayweather chases after. They head to the bridge. They're having a chat in the turbo lift about the movie night the night before. I think that's the first time we've had a mention of movie night. That becomes a bit of a regular thing. And Mayweather's complaining that the choice of movie was Night of the Killer Androids.
To which I couldn't help myself, but I'm like, was that based on Mars or...
That hasn't happened yet, but Hoshi and Mayweather get to the bridge, and Reed asks about movie night as well. He says that he wishes that was 2 hours of his life he could get back. We cut to Archer in his galley being waited on by crewman Daniels, who brings him his breakfast or lunch.
And I don't think Captain Picard was ever actually brought meals or anything. He didn't have someone delivering his food for him, was he?
No, but I guess by the 24th century, they had replicators in every room.
True.
So Picard could just go up to the replicator in his office and say tea or grey hot, whereas they couldn't really do that in Enterprise and the original series. They had people waiting. They had wait staff.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah, I never really thought of it like that. Although, do we see it in Discovery or Strange New Worlds?
I don't remember anything in Discovery.
Yeah.
I know Captain Pike likes to cook, so he's got a kitchen in his quarters.
He does do that.
And he cooks for the crew, or like his bridge crew.
They make a point of that, yeah.
So, but yeah, I haven't really not that I recall.
No.
And Discovery only did 2 seasons in the past, and then they jumped way ahead of everything else.
True.
Which we'll get to in a couple of years.
Yeah, we'll review it then.
Anyway, interesting. But while Daniels is with Archer, Daniels makes a bit of small talk and asks about, oh, you're making a course correction. What up with that? And Archer says that they found a stellar nursery, so they've plotted a course to go have a look, check that out. There's an external shot of Enterprise entering the nursery. Looks like a nebula. Looks pretty. And then we cut to the bridge, and they're getting hailed by an alien ship. This captain, what was his name? Fraddick?
Yep, that's the one.
He is hilarious. I love this guy. He doesn't give a shit.
He does it well, doesn't he? He's all plain. Yeah. Doesn't make any emotions at all, really. He's like...
No, Archer introduces himself, and he's like, pleased to meet you. What do you want?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I love this guy. This guy's my hero.
He's great.
But he says he's transporting a group of people on a pilgrimage to see the plume of Agasauria, which is basically just a... What did he say? A hydrogen explosion or something in the nursery. Was it hydrogen?
I think it was hydrogen. It was something that explodes or something every 11 years or something, was it?
Something like that, yeah. So, anyway, Archer tries to make first contact with them and doesn't really work. So he offers to host him and all the pilgrims on Enterprise for a dinner. We see the ship docking with Enterprise and a bunch of aliens come on board. There's like a lot of aliens here, right? Like 17, 18, 20?
Yeah, there's quite a few. Probably about 17. Actually, he does a count. Yeah, 17.
17.
Yeah.
We don't often get a big group of aliens coming onto a ship like that. It's usually, 3 or 4 at most.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was cool. They all come on board and they look like maybe they're from different planets. They're not all the same.
I'd say there was 2 distinct species.
Sure. And they say that they've travelled from different worlds together to watch this event. And they present Archer with a gift of a clock that is said to mark and track time from the start of the universe. Maybe to the end, I'm not sure.
To 2012 at least.
2012. Same calendar as the Mayans. And they also give Trip a bottle of booze.
Yeah. I would have preferred the booze.
Red booze.
I don't drink that much, but I still would have preferred the booze.
That clock was fine. That looked cool.
The clock was fine, but he didn't come with instructions.
No,
so he didn't
true.
figure out how to use it. And what is it with captains and getting clocks or coming up with clocks that they don't know how to use? Because Benjamin's was the same, right?
Benjamin's?
Sorry.
You're first name basis with old Captain Cisco, are you? Oh, my buddy Ben.
But his was the same, right? Captain Cisco's. Is that better? Captain Cisco's was the same, right?
Show him the respect he deserves.
But he built a clock and has no idea what it is, right? Okay, what is it with captains and clocks? Because Janeway gets a timepiece as well off Chakotay.
Yeah, a little pocket watch.
Yeah.
Captains need to know what time it is. We cut to the mess hall and all the aliens are hanging out there looking out at the nebula, the nursery, whatever. And they're talking about how this is where they believe the universe was started. This is the beginning of the universe. And there's a bit of a conversation about religions here. And Dr. Phlox says that their creation myth is not that dissimilar from Hindu religion on Earth. And then he goes on to say that he spent some time in a Tibetan monastery. He attended Mass at St. Peter's Square and went to a Vulcan service at the High Command as well. This is where I went, what the fuck? What? I thought we were beyond religion by this point in the Star Trek timeline.
Well, I would have thought so too at this point. Because it makes no sense.
There's no religion in the rest of the series.
Yeah.
So maybe I could understand some remnants, but Mass at St. Peter's Square?
Yeah, makes no sense. It's illogical. It doesn't. I don't understand how religion can hold up in a future where we have that many alien species and everything around.
I could maybe understand if there was like small pockets of
Hold
devout
up. Yeah.
religious people.
Yeah.
But Mass at St. Peter's Square implies a pretty big fucking crowd.
Yeah.
Like those things draw in the crowds.
Exactly.
And after World War III has happened and we've met Vulcans and we've started to explore the universe.
Some of the more like like the Buddhism and stuff like that it's sort of based on an actual person who lived now and they live on that's their way of life. I understand that religion, that way of living. I understand that being around. But as for something like Catholicism that exists because of a book that is written by man, written however many years ago, and then we're hundreds of years again in the future after discovering aliens and so many other beings around in the universe, how can a book like that just talks about us on a flat earth exist? How can that still hold up? Like I just don't understand.
That's because you don't have faith, Tom. You need faith of the heart.
Well, I don't remember being raised religious. I don't ever remember the Bible saying God created Romulans and Vulcans and Klingons, and then He created Earth.
That was week 2. On the 7th day he rested, and then on the 8th day he went to the other side of the quadrant and he went, I need some that look similar but with pointy ears, please.
Let's try again. The first one's
Can
failed.
we make the blood green?
Let's do it. Let's just mix this up just a little.
Yeah. Maybe darker complexion, maybe some forehead ridges.
Yeah.
Let's see what we can do with that. Are we talking about God or Michael Westmore? Or same.
Same.
So yeah, anyway, we cut to the bridge and Reed is picking up some security issues or something. There's something wrong and he needs to go and fix it.
Isn't it the first thing he says about their weapons? That's the first thing he says, right? Cuts to the bridge and he goes, I wonder what weapons they have.
Does he?
Yeah, that's the first thing
I'm
he
not
says.
surprised. That's all he ever talks
Yeah,
about.
it's like everything on his mind is just weaponry.
He's a one-beat character at this point.
Yeah.
I don't think he's ever had a conversation that isn't about weapons or alerts or protocols or something.
It's
like,
ridiculous.
surely he's got a personal life.
You'd think so.
That we haven't got into that yet. Apparently, we haven't done enough episodes.
No, apparently not.
So anyway, he leaves the bridge and he leaves Mayweather in command. And Hoshi convinces Mayweather to sit in the chair. And it's a fun little scene like you would do if you were on the bridge, probably. If you were an ensign and you got put in command, you'd be like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm going to go sit in Dad's chair.
It was good, She pushing him too.
Yeah.
She was having a bit of fun with it. It
That's
was good.
right.
It was a nice
It
little
was a good scene.
Yeah.
Reed comes back onto the bridge and asks for permission to take his station. Sorry, sir.
Yeah.
Then we cut to engineering, and Trip is taking some of the aliens on a bit of a tour around engineering. And my notes here say Trip is being an arrogant fucking human. Which might be a little harsh.
No.
But the way he's talking to these people about the warp engines was basic stuff. Like, think of it like an engine. Well, what the fuck else would I think of it for? That's what it is.
Exactly. Absolutely. It was
It'd be like if I gave you a car and said, well, just think of it as a car.
Yeah, but yeah, that's it. It was just he was talking down pretty heavily. He was mansplaining.
He was mansplaining. Exactly right, Tom. So he's giving this lecture, and then he says something about where the energy goes, and one of the aliens says, "Yeah, the nacelles." He's like, "Yeah, that's right, the nacelles. You know what they are."
Yeah.
He's like, "Yeah, they've got the warp coils and
Yeah.
blah blah blah." He's like, "I'm a warp field theorist."
It was so good.
Okay.
So you guys know a little bit about engines then. The look on that guy's face too while Trip was talking. It's like, this human is such a fucking idiot.
Yeah. Like, just ask.
Yeah, exactly. It wouldn't have taken much at all. It was, It was good.
Launched straight into the mansplaining lecture. Anyway, the dodgy guy that the camera was eyeing off before moves to a different part of the engineering section and opens up this hatch and then pulls apart this cabley thing and then closes the hatch and goes back to the group. This guy has committed sabotage. We cut to the bridge. Enterprise is hailed by Captain Fraddick, and they're talking about the weather, basically. There's a plasma storm and stuff out in the nebula, and they sort of talk about swinging around it to avoid it. We cut to sickbay, and Archer is there with Dr. Phlox and the other half of the alien group, and they're doing a body scan, and they're kind of just showing off all the bits of the ship.
Yeah, like you would on a school trip,
Yeah.
School tour. Here, look at all the fun things you can do on our ship.
Yeah, jump on into the body scanner and look, we can see your heart. We can see your other bits.
Yeah, you got two hearts like a Time Lord. Isn't that cool?
Time Lord, wrong franchise. So while they're in sickbay, the ship starts shaking, the lights start flickering, and Archer calls up to the bridge to find out what's going on, and she just says there's plasma storms, we're just going around it, it's fine, don't worry about it, but it gets worse. So Archer leaves to take care of it. So Archer leaves sickbay, heading to the bridge to help take care of what's going on. And there's a shot of Daniels in the mess hall cleaning up, and he just looks concerned. We cut back to engineering, and there's some trouble. Part of the engine bay starts to explode, and you can see that it's exploding along sort of like a path towards the main engine. but it stops before it hits the engine. Also, pretty good explosion effects, I thought.
Yeah, it was well done. Very well done.
You know,
And you could track it, which was good too.
yeah.
Like you could actually follow it across the wall, which was done really well.
We come back from commercial break. And all the visiting aliens are leaving, and Dr. Phlox has decided to go with them for the night to learn some of their chants and just get deep dive into their culture a little bit, or their religion.
Of course he did.
Yeah, he loves that
He
shit.
absolutely, it's right up his alley.
Yeah, he loves it. He loves it. Archer gets called to engineering, and Trip shows Archer where the cable has been pulled and says that someone's done this. Someone's done this on purpose. None of our crew has done it, but someone's saved the ship.
Because that whole explosion was going right up until here, and that was the last one. Otherwise, it would have just went boom. Whole ship would have went up.
Bigger than the plume of Agasauria.
Agamemnon?
Agasauria. We cut to Archer's ready room, and Captain Fraddock is on the Enterprise. And he's saying that he's talked to the visitors and that no one has confessed to pulling the cable. And he seems really put out that he's there.
Yeah, he didn't really like it, did he?
No. He even said to the captain, if I say I did it, could I get a reward?
It stuck to his character really well, didn't
It's so funny. He's so good. We cut to Archer walking in the hallway, and crewman Daniels comes up to have a chat with him. And Archer pretty much blows him off. Like, you know, go talk to one of the bridge officers or something, because I don't have time to talk to you. You're too lowly.
Yeah, sorry.
You're one of the little people.
You're
and
just a waiter.
yeah, I have no time for you, little person. I am the captain of this ship, and
How dare you talk to me?
dare you even approach me without a meal? But then Daniel says there's a Suliban soldier on board, the same one that you were in a fight with on the Helix. And Archer says, how the fuck do you know what happened on the Helix? Okay, Archer didn't swear.
No,
but
he might as well have, because
He
he
might as
said
well.
hell, and you could see it in his face. He was like, how the hell do you know what happened on the Helix? It's like, whoa, Archer, calm the fuck down.
yeah. yeah. Hell is a swear word in Star Trek.
Well,
There's
it
not
is
much
at this
swearing
time.
in Star Trek.
No, it was Data's the only one allowed to swear at this point, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Daniels and Archer talk in the hallway for a little bit and then move to Daniel's quarters. And basically he tells Archer that he's a time traveler. He's from 900 years in the future. Daniels grabs a device out of his locker and turns on this, what did he call it? A temporal observatory? Is that what he called it?
That was it. Yep.
Like a stellar observatory, but temporal.
It was
Fancy.
pretty.
It was cool. Yeah, it was cool. It was they sort of talk through the different timelines that they can see in this observatory, and he points out, like, here's a group of people from the 2700s that are watching the pyramids being built at Giza.
And they're following the instructions.
Yeah, the temporal accords. Daniel says that the people controlling or giving orders to Silik and the Suliban can't actually materialize in the past. They can only project themselves into the past to communicate. Daniels tells Archer that Silik is the one that stopped the breach, but Daniels is there to catch Silik because he's dangerous.
He convinces Archer that he's right, basically. That he is
And he's
who
a
he
good
says he
guy.
is. Yeah, and that Archer then says that he wants to, if he wants his help, then he'll have to let some of his people know.
Yeah.
That's about it.
At which point we cut to Archer's ready room, and he's in there with Trip and T'Pol, and he's doing exactly that. They're drinking that red booze they were given by the aliens. And T'Pol says the Vulcan Science Directorate has said that time travel cannot exist.
Yeah, which we've heard before.
Yeah. Archer talks about the fact that they use the same language that they used in Broken Bow around the temporal Cold War, and that if it is true, then they can't just ignore the request for help.
Fair enough.
He thinks that the technology is a giveaway, like clearly he's from the future. Look at this technology he has. And Trip says, just because you have technology or you're getting these enhancements or anything like that doesn't mean that you're from the future. It just means you have technology that we don't understand or have access to.
Yeah, fair enough.
But Archer decides, bad luck, we're going to help.
Yeah, he's like, screw you guys.
We're helping anyway. Hoshi calls and the ship wants to dock again because some people want to come back on board.
Mm-hmm.
We cut to Trip and T'Pol in the turbo lift after that conversation, and T'Pol is still having doubts about whether time travel is legit and says, well, if he can travel in time, why doesn't he just go back to the day before and like stop the thing from happening? Which, you know, because then there'd be 2 of him. And if that didn't work, there'd be 3 of him. And then there could be 4 of him. Like, when do you stop?
Well,
there's got to be rules around time travel, right?
Well, that yes, I suppose
part of the temporal cord would be about not going to the same place twice. I'm sure that would be rule number 1.
Yeah, well, you know, after Marty McFly went back and there was 2 of him, he would have learnt that, and then they would have had to have figured that out in the future.
And what if they saw each other?
Yeah, that's right. It
would be the end of the universe. Or they'd both pass out.
Yeah, that's just exactly what would happen. They'd just pass out and then they'd be fine.
Yeah, if young Jennifer sees old Jennifer, we're in trouble.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly.
T'Pol says, there's a difference in keeping an open mind and believing in something because you want it to be true. Which I thought was a very good quote.
It is. Good.
That's how I think about everything. We cut to the mess hall, and Dr. Phlox and the aliens are back, and they're watching the plume start to plume. And Archer starts asking some questions to Dr. Phlox about the aliens, saying that he's curious, but he's asking about, did any of them look out of place, or were any of them a bit suspicious? And Dr. Phlox is wondering why. Like, is everything okay? Is something going on?
Because he's looking a bit nervous and looking around the room a bit funny, isn't he?
Yeah. And Archer just says he's fine and leaves. We cut to engineering. Trip, T'Pol and Daniels are doing some adjustments to integrate Daniels' equipment from the future into the systems because it draws a lot of power. And they're having a bit of a chat. One of the things Trip asks is if Daniels is actually from Illinois. And he says, yeah, I'm from a place called Illinois.
Yeah.
It's just a different one to the one you know.
Not the one you're thinking about.
Yeah. And Trip says, but Earth's still there, right? Well, it depends what you define as Earth. While they're doing their installation, Trip sees that there's a power coupling that's gone offline and it's 3 meters within the bulkhead, so they're going to have to pull the panels off and whatever to fix it. Daniel says, I got this. Hold my beer. No. Daniels puts on a hand device. I don't know what to call it. A glove?
No, it's a, I don't know.
It's a thing. A hand device thing. And Daniels uses that to walk through the walls to fix the power coupling. He uses his hand glove to go through the wall.
He uses this real expensive looking ring to walk through the wall.
It's a ring of Mordor.
Yeah.
The one ring. We cut to Archer's quarter. Archer walks in and Porthos is sort of sooking and barking a little bit. And Archer says, I know, it's past breakfast time. I haven't had breakfast yet either.
Such a thick captain.
So thick. Porthos just starts growling and barking. Archer still doesn't get it for a bit. And then Silic materializes out of nowhere.
Because he sees a bloody thing on the bed. That's what triggers him. He sees the robe that he was wearing when he was disguised as the alien.
Right.
That was laying on his bed or his desk or something. And that's what the captain sees. And then he triggers that there's someone in his room. Like, what? Why even have a dog?
He's not the sharpest captain in the fleet.
You got that right.
Actually, I think he's the only captain in the fleet.
Well, then we're in trouble.
So Silic's there, and Silic and Archer talk for a bit, and Silic basically says, you should help me, not the other guy. I'm here to stop the other guy. I saved your ship, John. I'm not the one you should be worried about, John. Someone's trying to find me, John. Who's looking for me, John? I'm saying John all the time, but I actually really love this guy. Like,
Yeah.
I think the guy that plays Silic does a fantastic job.
He does.
And that calling him John all the time just adds this like layer of I'm familiar with you, like I know who you are. That Archer's really doesn't really know this guy. Archer doesn't know Silic, but Silic's talking to him like, I know all about you, John.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just love it.
Yeah, it adds a layer, doesn't it? That's
Yeah.
pretty good. It's sort of like a familiar, but it's sort of, I don't know what it is. It's sort of it's sort of like intimidating, but like,
Friendly.
yeah, I don't know what it is.
weird.
It's good. It's just a good touch.
It's so good. I love that guy. So while they're talking, there is a phone call from engineering, and it's to Paul saying that the modifications you asked for have been completed. And Silic's holding a gun on Archer, like, you don't say anything or I'm going to shoot you. Tell me who it is. And Archer just says, understood, I'll be there in a few minutes. Thinking, okay, we're good. No one said anything. And then T'Pol says, Crewman Daniels is eager to get underway. Damn it, T'Pol!
Yeah. Fucking idiot.
Yeah. So Silic shoots Archer. Now that he knows who the person is that's trying to find him, shoots Archer
Yep.
and fucks off.
Yeah. Says, thanks for the information, John.
You've been so helpful, John.
Yeah.
And then just leaves poor Porthos there with you, Daddy.
Yeah. Poor dog. Tries to do the right thing, tries to help him, and still
Tried.
gets his owner shot.
Yep. There's an external shot of the plume beginning to do its thing. Very fancy. Then we cut to the mess hall. Dr. Phlox is invited to lead the chant, the religious chant for the plume of Agosoria, which he's very happy about. He's very excited.
He was touched.
We cut to engineering. Daniels is there with T'Pol and the crew, and Silic shows up. Does he?
They talk about the thing being ready.
And Silic and Daniels says
how they find the life signs and that it's on that deck.
Yeah.
So Daniel says that the Suliban life signs are on this deck.
Seal it and everyone get out.
Yeah, seal it and get what's his name to lock it down and send a security team down.
Mm-hmm.
And do that in a hurry. And then Trip sees movement on the walkway above and says, "What was that?" And then Daniel says, "Get out and I'll deal with it."
And then Silic appears, and it's just Silic and Daniels and Trip and T'Pol watching from the doorway, and they don't say much. And then Silic shoots Daniels, and he sort of goes out of phase for a second, and then he shoots him again, and then he explodes.
Yeah.
But like not in a gross way, in like a disappearing way.
Yeah, sort of like fading, exploding,
Yeah.
which was odd. But yeah. But anyway, no one done anything about that. No one tried to stop him. No one done anything. And even the Suliban, even he was like,
Done.
"Did they tell you you were going to die here and now? Bye." Dead.
And Trip and T'Pol just keep watching from the doorway and
Yeah.
go, "Oh, that's a shame. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go find the captain."
Yeah. let's not keep our eyes on the Suliban that's going to go
No.
running. Let's just take our eyes off him and let him run away.
Yeah, so they see that the captain's in his ready room on the sensors, and they call Dr. Phlox to meet them there. And yeah, so the Suliban's just left to his own devices.
Yeah.
Like, who cares?
Yeah.
Let him run free.
Yep. Off he pops.
Ridiculous. We cut to Archer's ready room. Everyone's there to revive the captain. Archer gives orders to like lock up the ship and find the guy, find the Suliban. Then Archer heads straight into Daniel's quarters and looking for the device,
Yeah.
which has gone missing, of course.
Funnily enough.
Clearly, Silic stole the device.
Mm.
That's what he was there for.
Because it could give an advantage to anyone that is in the war, because it could show them all the timelines and everything that was going on,
Yeah,
which is fair enough. If you were in a war, that would be very, very helpful.
absolutely. Hoshi calls and says that a message has been sent from the ship and that it was encrypted. We get an external shot of the pluming, and they're using the sensors to try to track down the Suliban. And Reed and the security team have sort of tracked Silic to a spot and said that he's behind this bulkhead in this chamber area.
Yeah.
But we need to pull all this apart to get in there.
Yeah, cut through it and go through this and that.
But Trip has given Archer the hand phase shifter thing. So Archer uses that to go through the wall and to go fight Silic. So Archer gets in and he points a gun at Silic, and Silic says, "Careful, John. Shame to trigger another reaction." Mm. Archer questions him about, you said you were here to help us, but I can't help but think what kind of enhancements are you going to get for delivering that device? Are you going to get wings? That's very cynical, John. I thought your species was more trusting. Then there's a big jolt as the plasma storm hits and the ship gets jolted and they keep fighting. And they sort of chase for a little bit into the shuttle bay.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Or just outside the shuttle bay.
Yes, in the little control room.
Yeah, and Silic is about to go into the shuttle bay, and Archer is pointing a phaser at him, and Archer ends up shooting the device out of Silic's hand, so it flies off. So it's useless. So you can see it smoking. Clearly, it's been damaged.
Yeah.
So Silic goes into the shuttle bay, and Archer follows, and the door shuts behind him.
Yeah.
Then Silic opens the bay doors. And Archer holds on to the rail, gets pulled over into the vacuum of space, but just holds on to the rail, and the device, the phase shifting hand glovey thing, flies off Archer's hand. So now he's holding on to from the vacuum of space with one hand in the shuttle bay.
Yeah.
And then the bay decompresses, and he hauls himself back up over the railing and walks into the control room.
Holding his breath.
While Silic jumps out and flies off.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, this is where we paused it and lost our shit.
What the actual fuck?
Because
what were they thinking?
I don't know who the fuck was this Tom Paris?
This was Tom Paris.
Right, so he
directed it.
Was this his first director? No. Okay, well, he fucked up.
Is it a him problem or is it a writing problem?
I don't know.
Either way, there should have been somewhere where someone said, "This doesn't seem right."
Yeah. Yep. And it should have been Tom. If he was directing, he should have went
Robert.
Sorry, Robert. My bad. Sorry. It should have been Robert. It should have been him. He should have picked up on this as they were filming this, and he was directing it. He should have went, "This doesn't make sense."
Yeah, what else can we do? Can we do something different?
What can we do here? Because this does not track properly as he was doing this. Because you don't... he's exposed to the vacuum of space.
For an extended time.
Yeah, for an extended period of time. Holding your breath does fuck all.
I just don't understand. I just don't understand.
No, I don't get it either.
It doesn't make sense.
No.
He couldn't have held on.
No.
And then hauled himself up over the rail once the decompression done. There wouldn't be gravity there.
No, well, that's right. He should have been able to throw himself to the roof.
He should have just flown about.
Yeah, should have just went straight up. But apparently gravity works.
So much wrong with that scene.
Yep, absolutely. But he held his breath because there was no oxygen. But you're in space.
Yeah, yeah. And he gets on the rail and walks over to the door. Like gravity's holding him to the rail as he walks over to the door, and then goes into the other room and then starts the compression.
Yeah, and you can see when he opens the door.
He takes a breath.
The air compression difference when he opens the door. So you know he is in the vacuum of space when he opens the door. Therefore, it proves the fact that he was. So there's no argument of, oh, well, it wasn't actually the in space. No, he was.
Yeah, he was.
So this just totally took me out completely. Like the whole episode was going really good. Everything was great. I was on it. And then this happened and I was done.
It was terrible.
I was done. I was like...
Just terrible.
I know it's all science fiction and you've got aliens and you've got people walking through walls and you've got fucking people from the future and all this shit. I was in it. You can't survive at all in the vacuum of space for any amount of time, let alone fucking that long. I was done.
Yep. It was bad.
Yeah.
It was real bad.
Yep.
Anyway, after that, we cut to Archer in his ready room.
Alive somehow.
Alive.
Not even at the sick bay.
No.
With like, you know,
No,
capillaries
he's fine.
bursted.
No,
and,
don't need
and
that.
you know, a lung collapse or any of that shit. No. Nothing.
No. Paul enters. He says that Starfleet's in for one hell of a report. She says that she's happy to help. And he says, maybe tomorrow I need a good night's sleep. Then he goes to the bridge and orders Daniel's room sealed and then sits on the bridge like he's going to do a shift.
Yeah, start his shift for
Not
the day.
go for a sleep.
Yeah.
That's okay. We see the Daniel's room getting sealed up by the security team, and that's when the credits roll. And I said, thank God that episode's over.
Yeah. Yeah. Thankfully, it was a quick wrap up because I wouldn't have been able to stay in it any longer.
No.
Not after that kerfuffle.
So, yeah. I mean, some big stuff happened in this episode, though. It was the first appearance of Daniels. It was the first mention of movie night. We went back to the Temporal Cold War. So, call back to the premiere. A lot of good stuff happened in this episode.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a good episode. I was actually really into it. Really good. I was in it right up until the end, where they just done one of those things that Enterprise seems to do, where they just, like, some of the detail they just fuck up to the point where I lose interest, like heavily lose interest.
So what's the life lesson in this one, Tom?
Well, I don't think there's a lot we can take from it, but if we take the quote, there's a difference
T'Pol.
from T'Pol that there's a difference in keeping an open mind and believing in something because you want it to be true. If we take that and turn that into a life lesson.
Well, I guess it is a life lesson, isn't it? It's like, don't be gullible. Like, yeah, keep an open mind, but don't just follow because you hope it happens.
Yeah.
Look for the red flags.
Yeah, and keep truth in mind rather than hope.
Yeah, well,
you know, to a
you
degree.
can hope.
Yeah, sorry. Keep truth in mind rather than want. How's that?
Don't hope.
Yeah.
Is that your lesson, Tom?
Yeah, don't stop hoping.
IMDb rating for this episode. For those listening at home, our examples of 1 episodes are Voyager's Threshold and Next Gen's Code of Honor. Examples of 10 episodes are Next Gen's Tapestry and DS9's Far Beyond the Stars. With that in mind, what do you want to give this episode?
Look, I was on the path to giving it probably an 8. But with the end, I'm going to give it a 6.
A 6?
Yeah, maybe a 7 if you really want to fight me on it. But I think a 6.
Well, if we think about the ones that we've done, like the 6s we've given previously, they were Breaking the Ice and Civilization. And I think this is a better episode than those.
Yeah.
So I'm more happy with a 7. That's in line with the pilot. So Temporal Cold War.
Yeah.
Let's go to 7.
All right. Yep, I'm happy with that. Yeah.
Cool.
I would have went to an 8 if they hadn't have fucked it at the end. So
Yeah, they definitely lost a point for that.
yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. Well, thanks for listening, everyone. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the episode or anything else Trek related. We love talking about Star Trek, so please join in the conversation. We would absolutely love to hear from you. You can find our Facebook page at Temporal Directive Podcast and Instagram, just Temporal Directive, or you can email us at wakefield_productions@outlook.com. Next week's episode is Silent Enemy, and we're hoping, if all things align, that we will have a special guest host with us. So we will talk to you next week. Live long and prosper.
Peace and long life.